Hello everyone, and welcome to my biggest hot take on this channel yet. I think so, at least. And that is because I don't think FNAF Secret of the Mimic is going to be very good. Now, before I even say anything, this video is coming out before the game has even released. As in that case, I don't know if the game's going to be good or not. Plus, this game might be in VR. If it is VR, it's going to be automatically better because it's going to be a lot more immersive and scary, which automatically makes this, which is a horror game, if I have to phrase is a horror game, it's going to make this game a lot better. But, so from what I'm seeing, it's not going to be good. And I'm going to say some things that I don't think I've heard anyone else say, and if you want to know why I think Five Nights at Freddy's isn't doing as well as it probably should be, you should probably check out my other video. This video is going to be dedicated to Secrets of the Mimic, so if you want to learn about Secrets of the Mimic, stay on this video. Anyways, yeah, I did not know of a better time to make a video like this than right now, because the trailer, just came out. Anyway, let's start with the actual video. First things first, if you've seen the gameplay of this game, you know it's going to be a lot like Security Breach, but more so like Poppy Playtime. This game looks a lot like Poppy Playtime, and I've heard this, complaint before, but I don't think people have stated it and emphasized it as much as I'm about to, because I don't think you understand. Five Nights at Freddy's came before Poppy Playtime. It innovated the horror genre. This game, copying Poppy Playtime, or not, more so taking a lot of heavy inspiration from Poppy Playtime, is not a good thing, because if you've seen Chapter 4, Chapter 3, they have not been as scary as I think they should have been. And that's because the mascot horror genre is a lot more focused on appealing to literally as wide of an audience as possible. And Five Nights at Freddy's didn't used to do that, and Poppy Playtime and all the more recent mascot horror games have been going and leaning towards that demographic. And unfortunately, that does make it so that the games aren't as scary and aren't as intense as they should have been, and that's not a really good thing. I don't really like that, because if you want to play a horror game and you want to take a good experience from it, and I'm going to use Resident Evil as an example because Resident Evil 7, or more so Resident Evil 7 than any other Resident Evil game, those are really scary games, and I feel like that is a lot more impactful as a horror game or a survival horror game, kind of like how Five Nights at Freddy's is. It's a lot more impactful when it's a lot more scary than if you're just playing, Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, where 90% of the time you're just walking around and doing puzzles. And now I'm not saying that type of gameplay is the worst thing ever, because as a survival horror fan, I do love puzzles in my games, but when that is the main thing being focused and not the horror aspect, and if the puzzles aren't even done that well, there's no point in me playing the game. And that's going to be something the Secrets of the Mimic, from what I'm seeing, is going to suffer a lot from. The whole art style of the game reeks of Poppy Playtime. I'm not saying that in a bad way, even though I'm using a negative word with a negative connotation, but I'm saying that it's too inspired. I think there needs to be a lot more differentiation between Five Nights at Freddy's and its competitors. Namely Poppy Playtime. And this is going to be like the general basis of my argument, because I don't think that Poppy Playtime and FNAF should, go over the same type of gameplay style, if you know what I mean. I think Poppy Playtime should stick to its puzzle, survival horror type of elements, and Five Nights at Freddy's should stay in the scary state, or not really office, but just you're in a more singular area, and you're trying to fend yourself off from animatronics. And, furthermore, the whole idea of just being in a toy factory is kind of just dead to me. It's been done to death. Even if you take Garden Abandonment, which isn't a toy factory, but it might as well be, because of how much is going on in there. That's definitely not a kindergarten, that is like a freaking science lab. But if you take a look at what's happening in the mascot horror genre the past few, years, it's become a lot more focused on less innovative ideas and more so on money-making, easy, simple locations and things that are not hard to make. Because if you think about it, a toy factory is just a place with a lot of toys. And if that's where Five Nights at Freddy's is gonna be going to, I mean, there's no really theme there. It's just a lot of stuff being put into a single area, which is kind of uninspired, especially when you look at Poppy Playtime, which is, wow, it's a toy factory. If you think that what I'm saying is probably not gonna, mean much, you have to look at the purpose of a trailer. And I'm taking us back to the trailer because if you look at what this game is going for, what everything is leaning towards, the hints, the themes, you can see that this isn't trying to be too scary. It has all the, main formulas. DJ Music Man, you got animatronics, we got the Mimic. But I don't see a real focus on the horror elements. There's a lot of focus on characters and story, and I mean, to an extent, kind of the environment. I don't see any of those as the developers thinking that horror is the main reason why you're going to be coming to a Five Nights at Freddy's Secrets of the Mimic game. And that's kind of not good, because you can kind of see where the intentions of the developers were, and that's, Steelwood Studio. And we can look at Steelwood Studio's past games to know what type of things they're gonna make, including this game. We've seen their history. You want to go over it? Hey, it's Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 1. This is probably their best game, and it's their first one. It's scary, and it takes a lot of inspiration from the original Five Nights at Freddy's games, which, wow, they have a lot of focus on horror because that's all they were back in the days. Next, Security Breach. Security Breach. That game is very similar to what this is. It was also hinted that it was going to be VR, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Security Breach, I think, is the worst Five Nights at Freddy's game that has ever come out. It is not scary, it's a walking simulator, it's boring, and it's the one game I can't even watch Markiplier play, and that's not a good thing, because, if I can't watch my favorite YouTubers play this game over and over again, like the other, Five Nights at Freddy's games, then that shows there's not a lot of replayability. This is also the one game I decided not to get, because I've watched enough videos, I've seen enough gameplay, and I know that this game isn't what Scott wanted it to be, because of, the story, and it also just didn't look fun. I could get it if I wanted to, but I didn't. I have all the other Five Nights at Freddy's games, if you think I'm not credible. And I've also beaten them, 100% of them. I got a lot of the max modes done. I got like 4, 5, 6 of them. Anyways, enough bragging. We can also look at Help Wanted 2. Help Wanted 2 is a good game, but it isn't like Help Wanted 1. It's not focused on that scare factor, it's more focused on the level design and the puzzles, which, god damn it, it's not what I want. It's not what most horror fans want, and that's not a good thing. I want this game to be scary. I want it to be the best game it could be, and that's not why I'm trying to, that's why I'm trying to rattle and beat this game up, because I want it to be the best it could be. And if I don't criticize it, and people like me don't come out and start, telling Steelwood Studio that we need to have scarier horror games, which is the basis of my argument, along with the fact that it looks like Poppy Playtime, which kind of coincides, because Poppy Playtime isn't as scary as I want it to be either. If we don't do this, they're not going to change their ways, and they're going to start leaning towards, a more younger demographic, which is something I do talk about in my previous video, which is, coincidentally, my first video that I've ever made, I think, at least, on this channel. If we just keep looking at the history of Steelwood Studio, as I, was talking about before I got off on a tangent, we can see that it started out really scary, because that's what the roots of Five Nights at Freddy's were, especially at that time. And we can see as the games progressed, they got, progressively less scary. Security Breach wasn't as scary as Help Wanted 1, and Help Wanted 2 wasn't as scary as Help Wanted 1, and to an extent, I think Security Breach was less scary than Help Wanted 2, I'm not gonna lie. But you can see the progression, and I think this game is gonna follow this same progression. It's gonna look a lot like Poppy Playtime with this story. You're going to be talking to animatronics. You're going to be, you know, just seeing some weird, wacky animatromos, like that mushroom character. I mean, that was just weird and wacky. I mean, that's what Poppy Playtime does. Leave it to them to make such content. All I'm hoping for is that, like Silent Hill 2 in that remake with that one trailer that's, you know, action directed, that they change the trailers to reflect more of what they want to see, of what we want to see, and that's horror. And the game turns out to be something a lot scarier, because I don't want to watch a walking simulator with random animatronics talking to me and telling me that I'm an idiot. I don't want that. I want to see, you know, freaking mindless murder rampage animatronics in a dark, scary environment, maybe some gore like Resident Evil or something like that, and just have it be an impactful experience. Because from what I'm seeing right now, it's not going to turn out that way. It's going to turn out to be a Poppy Playtime rehash, and it's not going to be a good look if Five Nights at Freddy's is copying what Poppy Playtime, you know, copied off of Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's the mascot horror genre that has been innovated and created in the past few years. I want this game to be good, because it is, you know, the next Five Nights at Freddy's game, and I want it to be the best it could be. And without any sort of, you know, change in the size of the developers, and I don't think anything is going to change from now until the release. There's not much they can do. They can't change the whole game. But I'm not too optimistic on this game. I have become, you know, sort of disillusioned with the Five Nights at Freddy's brand over the years. I used to love Five Nights at Freddy's. It was my favorite game franchise. Everything. I used to watch it all day. And over the years, it's just become, well, too repetitive. And once a new game does come out, for me, was the Security Breach. That was the game that, you know, snapped, you know, flipped that switch in my head. That Five Nights at Freddy's isn't going to be the same as it was a long time ago. And that is what made me realize that this game franchise isn't going to be what I want it to be anymore. And that's going to be a hard pill to swallow, but I want it to be a scary game that I could love for the story and the gameplay and the scares. I want it to be like that. But, I mean, you don't get everything you want. So, I mean, that's where I'm going to leave it off with this video. I think it's long enough, my ramblings. And this is going to be an easy video for me to make, especially with my time crunch, because I haven't made a video in a real long time. If you look at my channel page, you probably see that, or if you subscribe to me, you probably know that. And I just wanted to put something out there, my opinions, my thoughts, something new that people would watch, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. So, I mean, if I make another video on this, I mean, I probably will. But, I mean, like the video. I hope this video gets more than 10 views. I'm not gonna lie. My past few videos haven't been doing as well as I wanted. But, I mean, it's okay. As long as I make content and enjoy it, I'll be okay. Probably not true. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Oh, the sounds, I don't like them. Ah, fuck! No! Oh, no! Fucking fuck! I tried to push it! Oh, my God!